Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to some Division 4 League racing in the Zoom Racing League community. I am your host today, Freddie Razel, and today I am joined by John Ranger. John, how are you?
Absolutely on fire, Razzle Dazzle. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit under the weather right now. I have a virus going on through my household, and I have caught it, but hey ho, I am here. I am participating in this broadcast booth tonight, and we've got two good broadcasters in the booth tonight. So yeah, let's move on to the standings. We have Rigraf getting another win, having a two wins, two rounds not having a win. But he came back from a win in Netherlands and showing his true pace once again. A little bit of a controversial one last week. There was a lot of fighting going on in the last three laps. Connor Fox dropping a lot of points. Could have been in the top three, but had some incidents there. And then Max Verstappen getting another podium. Um, he's showing really good pace throughout the season, so he's definitely someone to watch out for tonight. But going to the constructors, Ferrari's still pulling away from Aston Martin, but it's getting really close for the top two now. Red Bull catching up to Aston Martin, and Mercedes a little bit further behind. It says they're sixth, but they're actually fourth in the standings, so just a little bit mix up there. But yeah, let's watch the
Yeah, this should
race.
be an interesting battle to watch. Mercedes, Alpine, and AlphaTauri are having currently mostly Mercedes and Alpine are having a two-way battle. Alpine and Haas are just 1 point apart from each other, so this race is super important for both of these drivers as we're starting to have our first drivers out on the track and getting our first couple of quali laps. You'll notice we're only 15 drivers tonight, so I don't know if there's going to be some other drivers joining in last minute uh, during quali, but that's also considering that we're missing a Haas driver. So such a tight race near the end of the season with between Haas and AlphaTauri. We're missing a Haas driver right now. There's only Ben that's out there. Who's about to go out there, and you got the 12 AlphaTauris that are there. So team principals definitely got to get their Division 4 drivers to be a little bit more reliable there because missing 5 drivers out of 20 is a bit unfortunate because Mexico is going to be a really fun track to race on.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been practicing a lot recently, um, on this track, and I've found it like I've always struggled with this track, but for some reason I've found the right setup. I've found like how to take the corners more tidy, and it's actually quite a satisfying track, especially these turn one, turn two, little part of chicane. I found that really satisfying.
Yeah, those chicane ones, when you get them really smooth, you could gain a considerable amount of time. So there's, I think that's going to be really interesting to look at so far. We've got Gibbs and Christian Cummins, who's just got their first times in, and we're looking at 118.3s for both of them. Big Alabro hitting it at 118. I'll call it 118.7, 699 there. So are we expecting these drivers? I mean, I think we could expect these drivers to hit the 117s at some point.
Absolutely. I've been, well, for myself, been trying to aim myself 116s, and oh, actually no, the 115s is definitely my highest I've definitely done recently. But yeah, if you're trying to set a banker, you do have to like, well, for default pace, I would say around. I mean, I would have thought a 116.8 around a banker, but looks like I'm over predicting default once again as Aero already gets 117.2, just 1.5 attempts clear from Rigraf and Labib. Aero, when he's on his A game, he does put in a really strong performance, but sometimes he does come in collisions, especially in quali, and does not help him throughout the race, especially picking up penalty points. Adeo already, maybe he's got a quali ban, I don't actually know. Did quite a few races last week, so quite possibly.
That is possible. There was a yellow flag that came out, so I don't know if he retired in the pits. I think he did, and that's gonna be another thing to look into this race. Is a little bit like Netherlands last week. Um, Even though there's some two very significant fast straight lines, DRS or straight lines on this track compared to Netherlands, sector the end of sector 2 and sector 3 could get rather technical. And as the tire usage gets the tires get pretty worn out. Once you hit the 30, 40, 50% tire usage, it could be pretty tricky. And those curbs could be a little bit nasty. You think you're driving all good, and one little bump could really send your car spinning. So these drivers gonna have to be really careful as a race during the track evolution of the race.
Absolutely. I'm just watching Max Verstappen going for his second lap, and he's got a lot of time. Already going for his second lap, so maybe he's trying to put 4 laps in, but he's going into lower gears than expected through some of the corners. Like, it's the first chicane going into second gear. I mean, for me, I would have gone 4th gear personally. I'm not sure if that's the same as you or anybody else, but I feel like 4th gear, you want to get down on the traction quite neat and tidily. But
Yeah, I think it'll be the question of driving assist at this point. Does he have the traction aid on to begin with? And second thing we're looking at as Verstappen goes for P5 in the Red Bull. The other thing we're looking at maybe has something to do with his setup. Does he go for a lower downforce setup? I think that's currently the debate right now. We have some, I'd say some medium downforce setups that help out for sector 2s and 3. However, some during race race situations, maybe some drivers will go for lower setups and have a higher top speed, and that's where they're going to aim to do the overtakings, especially with that double DRS zones, right? So you could have the DRS throughout all of the main straight from start to finish line to turn 1, and then coming out of the first S's, you also have DRS no matter your position. If you already had DRS on the first sector, you get it out of the first S's as well. So that'll be interesting to look at. Maybe some drivers want to take advantage of that with lower downforce setups.
absolutely. As I'm watching the second Red Bull, Christian Cummins having a decent season so far, coming for his second lap, I'm pretty sure. Yelvin behind him had a really good toe, El Padro. I'm not sure if he's going to go out for another lap, because it looks like he did muck up his first lap, only getting a 123.8, not too good so far, but however, it's a time on the board. But yeah, Christian Cummins, CC, coming through the S's right now, keeping it nice and tidy, not getting invalidation. Definitely tricky. It's definitely an easy spot to get invalidated by, but what is this? It's called a stadium section, ain't it? Just through that, like, the last few turns. I'm not actually sure what it's called, but anyways, Mr. CC goes on pole, provisional pole by 10th and a bit.
Yeah, they're gonna call it the Foro Sol. The whole little sector, we could call them the stadium sector as well. That's where they hold their podium celebrations. And I just had a Ferrari engineer confirmed to me that as much as for qualifying and as well for the race, the entirety of qualifying in the race, it's gonna be full dries.
So does that mean there'll be rain or?
No, fully dry. There is no rain expected whatsoever.
Just on board
So
with
we're gonna
Siggy.
see the typical medium to hards or hards to medium strategy.
Absolutely, I was just on board with Siggy, and he actually does DNF.
Yeah, Siggy seems to have lost it, and he's running at a 118 flat almost. So he's unfortunately lost it, and I think both Ferraris almost got in each other's way. I don't know if it was Labib that had to make. They're both on their outlaps from what I'm seeing. Okay, so they triggered a safety, not safety car. Sorry, the yellow in Sector 3, but that was just letting his teammate by. I think we have the McLaren of Zooks. Is that the Aston Martin team principal driving in a McLaren?
That absolutely is, and this is
It is.
despicable from our side of the yeah, from our side as
Uh,
both Aston Martin drivers seeing our team principal being in the McLaren. This is shocking news right now. I think
well,
this
it doesn't fit
means
him quite very well. Well, he doesn't fit well in orange. I can tell
no,
you that.
absolutely not. But anyway, we do have a Ferraris coming through Sector 1. The big 2 temps up from his time already. We'll go on board with him sooner. As Rigraf
He's
is
got a
1/10
purple
a bit.
Sector 1.
Yeah, Rigraf going a 10th and a little bit up. But there we are. Aero breaks into the 116s. They're 116.7. Really good lap from him.
That is quite a lap for the Aston Martin drivers. So the Ferrari's going to be looking to get something similar, if not better. And so Labib's going to be the first one coming into the Sector 3. He's just about to
6
get
temps
into.
up.
Yeah, he's doing very good so far.
Rigraf has actually binned it. Looks like his wing is okay for the time being, letting a... Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, Labib's lost it, and his damages the wing.
Oh, no, that
So
is...
both Ferraris binned it on their fast lap here. Fortunately, there's still 6 minutes left, and Labib's lost it coming out of the last turn, turn 17, so he'll be able to dive into the pits, fix up his car, and go out for another lap. But he was, well, high 116s from what I was seeing so far, but he kind of went a little too heavy on the throttle coming out of turn 17, which is a little bit of a tricky turn.
Absolutely, as Max Verstappen looks like he had a instant 3VS's. Looks like these drivers are not comfortable with VS's at the time being. Anyway, El Padrone is on a lap right now. He is 7 temps up already. So yeah, that is quite good, as he really should be up in his time now, but he is invalidated. And he will most likely come into the pits. We'll go on board with Joel. See what he's doing. I'm not sure if he's on a lap right now. Christian, possibly? Yeah, Christian looks like he's on a lap right now, so we'll go on board with him. So yeah, Christian is on a lap right now, 5 milliseconds down on his Sector 1 time. Definitely improvement to be made. But yeah, something which is quite interesting. Ben is on the front row right now, and that's a really good performance for the Haas driver. Oh no, as Christian loses it, he gets in a wall, but his car is okay. He gets
Gotta
out
be
the
careful not to
way.
impede on the McLaren driver behind him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Joel's on a lap anymore. No, Joel will be coming into the pits, maybe rushing.
Oh, yeah, indeed. Yeah, you're right. His ERS is completely empty.
Yeah, so we have a Williams on a lap right now. I don't really watch for Williams as much as... I mean, yeah, they are at the back of the grid. Known to not do well. But we're going to give them the satisfaction. See if they're actually on... Oh, well, we don't even know if they're on a lap, as this will be his only lap. So he needs to make it count.
Most definitely. With 3:44 down to go, there's a lot of drivers in the pits, and I'm expecting in the next 30 seconds, 45 seconds, most of them to come out. So
Yeah.
you're gonna potentially hit some traffic. I don't know if some of the teammate drivers are gonna want to set themselves up for maybe putting up a slipstream. Rigraf and Labib, they've done some teamwork like that in the past. So.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
both of them are 117.3s, 117.4. I know they couldn't both improve, and they want to improve. A lot of drivers are going to be looking at the Ferraris right now.
Yeah, I'm also looking at Gibbs right now, not really the best qualifier, but when it's his track, he knows how to put a lap. That was some rhyme right there. Not sure if it actually was, but for me, does sound like it is a rhyme, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gibbs is nearly 4 attempts up from his time, so that will, for the time being, put him around P7, P6, unless he can find more extra time in the car from stadium section. Really
It's gonna be
need
important
that
for
right
him.
now.
His direct rival Ben is in P2 currently, and he's gonna be looking to improve his time as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said, Gibbs
Was in
into
P5.
provisional P5, so really good lap from him. Hopefully he can keep it, but I know there is a lot of drivers right now who are on the outlaps, can put it around the same time. But yeah, he's only 3 attempts off Rigraph right now.
As I mentioned, a lot of drivers are on the outlap, so got to be a little bit careful on traffic and not impeding each other. And I think the one that's leading the pack so far is Christian Cummins on his outlap with in the Red Bull. So he's
Yeah.
about to try to see if he can improve on his time, and if he does improve, logically should be with the third driver to go into the 116.
Yeah, but I'm going to go on board with Ben right now. I'm going to try and watch his whole lap. Let's go through that. It was getting a little bit of traffic, but they got out of the way just in time. As Ben is down in his sector 1 time, he needs to improve through sector 2 if he wants his pole position. This will definitely make Arnaud ready happy. I mean, I think he'll be happy with a front row anyway, especially with Haas. Then keeping it really nice and tidy, keeping it. Oh, he goes a little bit wide at the end of the S's, but no, he backs off, so that will be it for him. Then we now jump on board with Christian Cummins. He's leading the pack right now.
Yeah, the question is, Christian on his outlap had the ERS completely draining his car, and he's already down to 30%. So hopefully, his ERS is able to bring him till the end of the lap.
Absolutely, I just thought the Alpine was impeded by a Williams. I might be wrong, but it is what it is. As Christian is up in his time through sector 1, going through the S's. Got not enough battery, I don't think. I think he might have used battery before, but he is 2 attempts up on his time, so this is definitely a pole decider. Going a little bit wide through that
And
turn.
if he does not get pole, he's going to be upset with himself because he's indeed drained his battery completely. He started the lap at under 70%, so that puts him at a 116.6 provisional pole in front of Arrow, just a little tenth above of Arrow.
Yeah, Arrow invalidates, so that puts him out with it. Ben cannot do it. Conley going P4, really good lap from him. Florida going P8.
And trying, but his ERS is completely empty as well, so I don't think that's gonna be helping him.
Yeah, Joe.
Meanwhile, on the other Aston Martin Condor, the Fox is in P4. Labib and the Ferrari was usually used to seeing Ferraris being a little bit higher up. He's gonna start P7, and Rigraph is finally gonna. He's about to finish his lap. Oh, he's actually invalidated.
Yeah, this is it. So Christian Cummins gets pole, Aero P2, but something you know about Aero is he is one of the best starters on the grid right now. Like every time I'm on board with him, he just somehow gets a better start than Christian, or like the people ahead of him. So I'm calling it right now, Aero ahead of Christian by turn 1.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting drag race for these guys once they start off start finish to turn 1. So some drivers were starting maybe on the second row, looking at Ben and Condor, and even potentially the third row on with Rigraph and Gibbs. They could be potentially, if they have a decent start, advantage because they'll have some slipstream all the way to turn 1. So often on this kind of track, we see this kind of situation where turn 1 kind of bunches up everybody, and I'm definitely expecting maybe a little bit of chaos.
Absolutely. I mean, Mexico is definitely a track where there will be chaos, in my opinion. We're just going to the race director to see speeding in the pit lane, see if people's doing it. Don't know why I'm doing this, but looks like it's okay.
I think during the race, track limits is going to come into play as well. So
Hmm.
we've seen a couple drivers, noticeably some Ferrari drivers, making their laps invalid during their qualies because they would very, very slightly get a wheel across the white line of the curves on the outside curve there. So game is not very forgiving in regards to track limits, and it's very easy to just get out of get out of those track limits and get some penalties. So you want to be careful. You want to push a lot. Obviously, this track, tends to make you want to push, and you think you're very confident about it, but then you turn and get into the sector 2S's, and those are usually the areas where we want to gain as time as fast as possible. The most time you gain, you have to be very tight on the track limits, but sometimes it's a game of only a few centimeters, and that causes you to go off track, and those penalties could be piling up in D4 here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just wondering right now. Aero's been messaging in Aston Martin chat recently saying what tyres to start on. He's saying he always prefers a medium tyre, as that is normally a preferred strat, but the hard mediums is definitely the way to go. Unless a safety car comes out around the time when the hard or the people can go a certain amount of laps on the hards, if that makes sense. So if it comes around like lap 14, people can definitely make 22 laps on the hards if they start on the mediums. But here we are now. Christian Cummins on the mediums. How do I change it? There we are. So Conor Fox starting on his preferred hards. Don't think I've ever seen him start on the mediums before, but most likely wrong about that. Aero with the mediums as well, so
Yeah.
looks like
There's a surprise in P9.
yeah.
Max Verstappen is going to try the alternate strategy with the soft tires. I
Absolutely.
mentioned earlier chaos in turn 1. I think maybe he's thinking the same thing and is expecting a safety car early on in the race, and maybe he'll try to take advantage of that. We'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, he's definitely going for the strat that could turn. I don't know how you say it. Is it like turn to worse or something like that? Because soft only lasts, well, the maximum laps they can do is around 12 laps. So it's going to be quite hard to manage those tyres, especially with the hards around lap 30, so the last 6 laps, because Mexico is a track like Netherlands, like it's got high track it's called tyre wear. I mean,
Yeah, the tire degradation is very high on Mexico because of those very fast pace S's you're going on, especially the very nostalgic Sector 2S is there. You got a left right there, so uh, got to be a little bit careful, and it'll be Max Verstappen's responsibility. P9 coming up behind a bunch of drivers on soft tires. His braking point is going to be a little later than those drivers, especially the ones on the hards. Depending on how they also
oh no, yeah,
warmed up their tires, so he's gonna have to be careful, but he's also gonna probably be try to be brave with those circumstances. I mean, he's got his teammate Christian Cummins fighting off two Aston Martins, and Red Bull and Aston Martin are both pretty tight in the standings in P2 and P3 there. So Aston Martin wants to take over on the Red Bulls.
absolutely. So here we are lining up to the grid. We have 1 light, 2 light, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Long wait, and they are finally out, and away we go. Aero once again, like I said, gets a good start, but not the start he actually wanted. But he was further behind. But Conor getting an amazing start right now. Going side by side with Rick Raff. Sorry about that. Aero going for the dive bomb through turn 1. Through Christian Cummins, keeping it really nice and clean. Good job, boys. Christian comes out ahead of both Aston drivers, as I think there was a mistake. Everyone was clean through the chicane, so good job, lads. Well done. Max Verstappen already making 4 positions up. El Padrone losing a few positions, but so is Labib. Labib already losing 2 to 3 positions right now. And let's just go on board with Labib, see if anything's happening. The two Alpines are fighting it out right now. Opal Drone getting ahead of his teammate. Looks like people are struggling on those hards, but Christian Cummings is pulling away from Aero, but he's already on half his battery.
Yeah, DRS is very powerful here. As I was mentioning earlier, the double DRS zones, and I think Christian Cummins knows about it. So he's using a lot of his battery trying to get past the 1 second interval between him and Aero. Because if Aero could get on the DRS, he'll have a great advantage to catch up on Christian Cummins. You have to be careful and manage your ERS here. It takes multiple laps. A little bit like Netherlands. There's not a lot of very hard braking points, so you have to really manage your battery. If you completely empty it and use it all up, it's very hard to charge it up, and we saw Aero gain nearly 3-4 tenths on him on the straight, so already we're having an indication that Aero's probably using a lower downforce kind of setup compared to Christian Cummins.
Absolutely, it's Max Verstappen draining. He's already used 80% of his battery already on the second lap. He's gonna be blinking by next lap, and he's making a move on Conda and doesn't stick it, didn't get the traction he wanted, and Conda stays in P for the time being. But
yeah, he respected Condor a little bit too much, went far deep on the inside and not allowed Condor to stay out on the outside and gain the inside on the right hand turn afterwards. So Condor keeps his P4 and Max Verstappen finds himself P5, very low on battery compared to his Aston Martin rival. And he's gonna stick on his tail as much as possible currently. His next lap DRS is gonna be an option, so he's gonna try as much as possible. As our only McLaren driver, it seems like it's the D4 McLaren curse, spins out on the S's and finds himself way lagging behind.
Absolutely is. DRS will be enabled this lap, but you will not get it until the S's. But yeah, Aero definitely doing the ERS management right now on Christian. Christian really needs to harvest that ERS if he really wants to keep the fight going through these laps. These are going to be crucial laps for both of these drivers. Rigref just sitting behind them in his own battle right now, just going to be picking up the pieces, and Conda getting pressured by Max Verstappen right now, but he's got no ERS left. That is crucial around this track.
Yeah, Rigraf had a great start right off the bat, and he finds himself a little bit of no man's land. He's not close enough to get DRS from Aero, so he's going to try to be pushing for that. He doesn't have to worry too much about the drivers behind him, and behind it's Condor, Fox, and Max Verstappen, who are battling out right now. And looks like Max Verstappen, because he's drained his battery, he's only holding on by DRS, so we'll see how the Aston Martin, if he will eventually begin pulling away. Max Verstappen is going to have to manage his tires very well, so the softs currently are going to be rather performant, but eventually you're going to see them drop off, and I think that's where you're going to find out that the Aston Martin is going to start pulling away from him.
Absolutely, as he didn't get DRS this lap, but Labib going for a dive bomb on Siggy. I'm like 5 tenths away, that is really weird. But anyway, we're going to see the move done. Or will we not? I think Conda's using he is using battery. But they're going to be fighting it out through turn 1. And Conda gives him the position. So that is good news. So yeah, he gets moved on. Now we have a yellow flag. El Padrone spinning. Looks like he may be okay. Ben is pitted already. Not good news for him. And there is some fighting going on with Labib and Siggy going side by side through turn 4 right now. Coming up to turn 6. And Labib gets a better, the best out of Siggy. So he is now dropped to P8. And is that
There's a battle up front with Aero and Christian Cummins. Aero just took over the Red Bull.
I'm not sure what happened there, but I mean, if it's through that corner, then it must have been a great move.
It was from the DRS, and Cummins decided he's going to be patient, and he's going to get the double DRS zone. I think that's what he's looking to get, and that's what it's going to be. So Christian fought a little bit with Aero, but didn't mind too much letting him go by, because now he knows he's going to have a DRS coming out of turns 1 and 2. But Aero just dumped his DRS and had great straight line speed. And Christian Cummins gotta be careful. We see Rigraff for Ferrari behind him, who's caught up to him and is now sitting 7 tenths behind him. That means on the next DRS section, the Ferrari could catch up to the rear of the Red Bull.
Yeah, this is what I was saying earlier. Anything that happens with them two drivers, Rigraff will just be able to pick up the pieces and get ahead of them. But anyway, Max Verstappen dropping up to 6 seconds from the top 3 podium positions right now. But Honda is sticking with him right now with half a battery, and Mac is still below 10%. Honda will be known as his red flag is flashing.
Yeah, Condor is getting the DRS advantage and the ERS, so you can expect a move from Condor on the next straight lines.
Days. That was a close one for the near guy in the back of Siggy, but looks like he got illegal over it. Okay.
Did we just see what I think we saw? Florida absolutely dive bombing it completely.
Yeah.
It did not look like he was just simply missed a breaking point, so I think Stewards are gonna have a couple tickets looking into that, and Florida trying to get out of that corner there bumps his front wing. I don't know if he's damaged it doing so.
Don't know yet.
So a little bit of frustrations out there for the Alpine driver.
Absolutely, is Siggy looked like he went a little bit wibbly wobbly through the S's. Florida trying to pick up pieces, maybe got a illegal overtake, but it's what it is. It's a game's logic, so, you know, if you're in my books, the game is never wrong. It's always the driver's fault, so deal with it. But Rigraff, once again, on the back of Christian Cummins as Aero's pulling away from that DRS.
He's actually done it, yeah, absolutely. So it's interesting to see. Is this a question of setups and tire management from both drivers? Maybe Christian Cummins' tires are heating up a little bit too much. We'll have to see. I think Christian Cummins is going to have to think about the potential undercut on this situation.
Absolutely, and we actually do have Mr. Mechanic as the engineer for today, so I'm sure Duncan will be hoping for definitely a P1 and maybe a double Red Bull podium. Matt can maybe get up to the to around where Rigraff, well, the top 3 are right now, with that amazing undercut that he will be doing. But it looks like maybe Honda might go for a move sooner than later.
I'm not quite sure. From what I'm looking, Condor is really harvesting his battery. He's not using any of it. He's just letting himself getting dragged by Max Verstappen right now, and that's allowing him to harvest his battery to begin with. And he knows that Verstappen is going to be the first one in the pits before him. They're completely different strategies. So maybe he's just thinking he's going to take advantage of the DRS while the Red Bull driver is struggling a little bit to get grip out of those 2 corners there. So I think he's just playing the waiting game, and he knows after Verstappen, he's too far behind to Rigraff and the top 3 right now. So he's just in his own race, and he knows he's got P4 essentially. If you look at the pit strategies, unless Verstappen could pull a rabbit out of his hat.
Absolutely, we've got some amazing camera angle right now. That's sadly gone away, but Rigraff is now on the back of Christian, 8 tenths away, using a bit of VRS. Stops using it, and now is he close enough to make a move? No, not yet. But maybe up into turn 4, maybe hopefully get the move done. If he gets a better exit than Rigraff, he's definitely got the ERS advantage right now. I mean, if I was you and you're getting held out and you really want this win, I'd just use it. I mean, doesn't look like they've got any engineers to tell them that Aero's on low battery for now, but yeah, looks like Aero's just keeping that gap ahead of a second.
Yeah, surprisingly not that many overtakes currently going on, but I think that's what we're seeing. We're seeing Rigraff with Christian Cummins and Condor, as we just mentioned earlier, with Verstappen. They seem to be just letting themselves drag through the DRS zones and kind of just following their opponents and being very patient on the opportunity to attack. And it could be a viable strategy in this kind of situation, because if you start attacking too quickly and both drivers lose a lot of times. We've seen it earlier with Arrow and Christian Cummins. Rigraff came right back in the both drivers. So as soon as you start on attack mode on your opponent, both drivers tend to lose a lot of time to the opponents behind, and that's just not good for the overall race. So I think these guys are trying to take advantage, trying to play the waiting game, and it's probably gonna be played out in pit strategies for this race tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. As Conde is getting closer and closer to Max Verstappen while Joel is having a spinala through the last part of the track. But yeah, look how
And
close.
he's also got a 3-second penalty as well.
Look how close Conde is right now, and he backs away. But now, so Max tyres are definitely going off right now, probably around the 60% mark, I'd say.
Most probably, and those tires are most probably screaming at him right now. And yeah, good job on Mac for not spinning out on those soft tires, or giving him everything he's got. So he actually gained a lot off the start and get a lot of positions. I believe he was starting in P10 if I'm not mistaken, and he's driving right now in P4. So curious to see. I think he's gonna have to start thinking about diving into the pits. If it's not this lap, it'll be the next one.
So it is. So coming on to lap 10, looks like Rigraff may make the move on Christian. Because he's definitely gaining. Looks like he's got the extra, the lower downforce set up on Christian. Doesn't think of it for now. Really tight battles going on right now as Conde now makes a move on Max Verstappen, and hopefully, for our point of view, hopefully Conde can close up to that top 3, because he'll be on the quicker tyres when on the mediums, but maybe I don't think with this gap we'll be able to close it up, because the M3 will have DRS on each other. So
yeah, that's absolutely true. So both on the top threes are really in like their own little world right now, and if they keep on going, that's basically, we don't know in which order yet, but it's gonna be those top threes unless there's a safety car that comes makes the order up a little bit. If you take a quick second to look at the big winners and big losers so far in this race, with 10 laps being done, Max Verstappen, as we mentioned earlier, started P9 and gained 4 positions, is driving now P5. We'll expect him maybe to drop down the grid a little bit as he's about to pit. And Adeo and the AlphaTauri, we mentioned AlphaTauri versus Haas. Adeo's gained 7 positions and is now driving in P8, so that's quite an interesting gain on his part, compared to his opponent Ben, who's lost 11 positions from P2. I believe P4, should I say, and I was driving P14. And we also had the moment with Florida and was dropped down to P15. So he had started in P9, or should I say actually P8, just ahead of Max Verstappen. And then we saw that moment where he had a little bit of a dive bombing moment, or completely missed his braking point, and that caused him to drop down completely behind the grid.
absolutely, as the Beeb's getting on the back of Max Verstappen now. Yellow flag as Joel goes off through turn 2.
Yeah, he got a little bit aggressive right on the back of Ben. He wanted to do the overtake on the Haas, and a very unfortunate or simple situation of being too low a gear and putting too much throttle, and that causes his rear to spin out. As Christian Cummins is suddenly on the very back of Arrow, so he could have a move again for the Red Bull versus the Aston Martin.
Yeah, but Arrow has the battery right now, as he's going to keep ahead of Christian for the time being, but Christian definitely getting closer and Rigraff definitely falling away. Looks like
Rigraff did not use his battery whatsoever, following both drivers on a straight line. He knows he's got, I believe he's got DRS coming out. No, he doesn't. He's actually dropped off the DRS completely. So, for at least for that sector temporarily. So, yeah, Christian Cummins got right back on the gearbox of Arrow, and Arrow just pushed a little button, and he's back 7/10 up, and the drivers are still duking it out there for the top 3.
Just trying to think when will Max Verstappen pit. Because I was told 12 laps is a max you can do on the softs. You can see his tyres are definitely around the 60% mark, probably more, 70%.
For sure more. For sure more. He was out there in P4 battling with Condor. He's dropped down to P7 and he hasn't pitted yet. So I don't know if he's trying to make himself go for maybe a medium strategy tires right now, but he's not helping himself. He's dropping positions like he's got a bit of a contact there with Adeo, and that's what happens. You have no more grip and you're trying everything to do to defend your position, and that's not something that's helping out. So he's got to dive into the pits. That was one single lap too late, and that's hurting him really bad right now. And he's going to stay out again.
This kid is nuts. If he gets a podium, this is it. Like, give him a championship, man. Like, it's done. If he gets a podium from here, yeah, congrats. You've won. You've won the championship.
I could imagine he's going to get on the hard tires and try to go for 20-lap strategies, which would make his tires much more performant than his opponents at the moment. But he's dropped a lot of time very quickly, but we're going to give him credits. Despite this kind of situation, he's able to keep the car on track, and there's nobody much behind him able to overtake him now. So all he's got to do is just keep on going and manage his tires as much as possible. What a beautiful fight happening for the top three so far. There's not much of not many changes of positions, but Aero, Christian Cummins, and Rigraff currently, they're all really holding each other out in the battle there. And did I just see the Ferrari of Rigraff? Yeah, Ferrari's going to go for the undercut here. It's lap 14, and he's dived into the pits, and he's going to go for the hard tires first. So I do believe he's going to try to go for the undercut, despite Aero and Christian Cummins having DRS off of each other constantly. So see how the Ferrari strategy works out. But you could expect him to want to warm up the tires real quick and have a good lap on those cold to hards now.
Yeah, really.
And he's going to come out of the pits right behind both AlphaTauris.
Yeah, really weird strategy there. I mean, this could play in Condor Fox's hand now. As if I was Condor, I'd be pitting around in lap 18. You could definitely make the mediums go for 18 laps around here. But
yeah, you could split the race half and half. I've seen that hard laps were able to easily go lap 20, lap 21 before really having a drop off there. So he's curious to see what he's gonna do in regards to his pitch strategy.
Why is Matt Verstappen out? Why is he out? We need to get Mr. Mechanic in the booth. We need to see what's going on here.
That'll be a very interesting question. We could possibly be able to ask Christian Cummins if he ends up on the podium. And he's gone into the hard tires. So now the question is Christian Cummins going to come out in front or behind Rigraff? Rigraff is just coming around turn 17.
Oh, Christian Cummins has now pitted. I just realised, and Callum Rigraff get ahead.
Rigraff is just gonna get in there, point his nose, and doesn't quite make it stick. But Christian Cummins got cold tires, and Rigraff has got to make the move stick there, and he's gonna try it again. A little bit of VRS there, and Christian Cummins is gonna defend himself.
This is going to help Aero out so much.
This falls directly into Aero's strategies, definitely.
The thing is, I know Aero can do another 3 laps on those mediums. If not, then he's a weirdo. Because it's definitely possible. And yet he's staying out. He is definitely staying out. But yeah, this is going into Condor Fox's ways as well. But I mean,
so far Condor is going to find himself in P2, so we've got Aston Martin P1, P2. None of the drivers have pitted yet. Aero's probably going to be the first driver to pit, going for the hard tires, and then Condor is going to go for mediums. That might help him out. Most definitely against Rigraff and Christian Cummins, having the better tires for the later stages of the race. Question is how long will Condor go on the hard tires, knowing that both his rivals uh, also went into the pits. Gibbs dived into the pits and he went switched on to the medium, so he's doing a 16-16 kind of strategy with his tires, and he's gonna come out of there P13 from what I'm seeing. And so he's gonna try to go 16 laps with those medium tires.
Well, you know, I was told by Red Bull TP himself. I'm not sure if he wants me to say this information, but he said that Max Verstappen's actually quite adamant doing the softer mediums around here. Talked about him getting a 3-second time penalty.
The usual broadcaster's curse, so indeed he's gonna. I mean, that kind of works.
Definitely not the
It's
quickest.
a clear strategy, yeah. Oh, and Rigraff gets a 3-second time penalty. So, as I was mentioning earlier, and Labib as well, both Ferrari drivers nearly at the same time get those 3-second
What is
penalties.
going on?
Gibbs is getting one as well, so everybody's just diving their hand into the cookie jar and picking out a time penalty each and every one of them. And as I mentioned earlier, as we're seeing Max Verstappen getting another warning, most probably over here, going a little wide on the S's, where that's going to play into the strategies potentially and to the end result. Now, Condor the Fox, if he could get keep his race clean for the rest of the race, get within 3 seconds of Rigraff at the minimum, he'll be looking at a podium position most probably.
So look like Aero's actually still gapping his teammate. That's all I know. And will Aero pit this lap? He's used his ERS and yet he is boxing, so this is going to be where Aero will find himself. I'm going to say he's going to be 2 seconds ahead. I think he has made the time. And
He might come out just behind. It's going to be. I'm pretty sure his teammate is going to get by him, and he might come out just behind of Labib. Labib's got a penalty, and his hard tire is a 17 lap old, so
wow, look at that
Ariel's
undercut.
going to be able to.
Overcut, I mean.
So he does come out right in front of Labib. Labib's going to be looking at potentially making a move there on the first 3 corners here. Remember, Ariel's got some cold tires right now. He's got to handle. Labib's going for the move. He's going to dump his ERS there. He's going to try to drag race Aero, and Aero's doing the same. Clearly, Aero's got a lower downforce package. Labib is all over the gearbox of Aero. They're doing everything he can to get by him, despite his time penalty.
Yeah, but can you just point out, get that Rigraff and Christian Cummins has got now. Sorry, Aero's got to them 2 drivers. It's insane. I'm not sure if they were just fighting hard or Aero's just was quicker. Or was quicker still. That was insane. That was a really big overcut.
Yeah, Aero's strategies worked out for him, and he's stayed away from fighting. And I think Rigraff and Christian Cummins basically slowed their race down because of the fighting. So that could be a reason why we're seeing the situation we're seeing right now. Condor the Fox is the next Aston Martin going into the pits right now, putting in the medium tires. And so he's going to go for a 16 lap strategy with the medium tires at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So he comes out in P6, but he does have Ed Deo pitting, so also Siggy, so he'll be around P5, maybe, when they both pit. So not too bad, but
yeah, his strategy is going to be to make sure he's out in front of Adeo and Labib when they both pit, and they should be pitting anytime soon. From what I'm seeing, they're both on 18 lap old hards, so Labib is probably going to try to take advantage of the DRS from Arrow, he's able to stick up behind him as much as possible. We'll see how long he could do that for. That could allow him to gain a bit of momentum before he drives into the pits.
Really, his arrows are just getting time on him now, but Labib does just stay in the DRS for this lap once again.
Yeah, the time advantage that you could gain from that is rather considerable. And Conor de Fox makes the move on Siggy, and just before going into the stadium section there.
Yeah, Conda's got so much more grip than them two.
Fortunately, he's put himself in a position where he's going to have two drivers behind him having DRS. So he's going to have to dump a little bit on the DRS, try to get away from them.
Ben moving up to P7 now. He's still got to pit again.
So far we've got Labib and Adeo, who still has got to pit on their old hards. We're looking at Ben, who's already pitted from having damage early on the race. He's going to have most probably going to pit on those 16 lap old mediums. They're about to drop off any moment now. Siggy's also got to pit. Florida, Big Alabro, and Alpa John. Florida was stuck it on his hard tires and crawled back to P10. He was P15 not so long ago.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting the fastest that 120. That is a really great time.
That
Definitely
is
use a
absolutely.
bit
Both
of
Labib and
DRS.
Adeo are now in the pits.
So where will
And-
Conda end up? I think he must be ahead. I think there was a. Looks like there was a bit of. Oh, actually, the Beeb.
Labib might come out in front of him, just ahead, and we're gonna have a bit of a battle between him and the Ferrari potentially.
Ooh, looks like the Beeb dropped that, like, lagged out a little bit, but
Yeah,
Labib
Labib's
behind.
getting. You don't. If you're Labib, you don't want to end up behind Ben, and as Ben is kind of like pushing for a little bit. There's a bit of contact in between the two drivers, and Ben's got the DRS advantage. So this is a worst case scenario for Labib, who's going to be stuck behind the Haas driver who's got 17 lap old mediums, and he wants to absolutely be able to be let loose against Condor de Fox. And this is Haas driving, who's completely playing out for Condor de Fox. Now Condor can just look ahead of him, and he definitely has an interesting gap between him and Christian Cummins, but Christian Cummins has found himself. He's still behind Rigraf, so he's able to take advantage of the DRS and that in that regard. So I don't know if Condor is going to have the pace to cut down on that 14-second time between him and Christian Cummins.
yeah, Labib's going to get held up massively if he wants to try and get that P4 position from Conda, but there we are. Ben is now in the pits. Labib going to get the DRS off him, using a bit of ERS, trying to catch up to Conda, which he will get. It will probably be around the 1.7 gap when he comes up to turn 4.
Yeah, so far, not most of the pit strategies, or I would say maybe all the pit strategies are completely played out. I think we're seeing Arrow is definitely the biggest winner out of that. The strategies being made. He's nearly 6 seconds ahead of Rigraf and P2. Rigraf and Christian Cummins are both fighting it out, and that's going to be the battle for P2, P3 for the podium places. Condor has just made his life that much more difficult. He gets another warning just after getting a penalty, a 3-second penalty. So the advantage he may have had on Rigraf, where he just had to catch up to him and be within the 3-second gap, he's lost that. And the only good news in regards to that situation is that Labib and Gibbs behind him also have penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. Labib's actually caught on the rut. It's a little bit. Yes, he does get the fastest lap. Labib is pushing half a battery left.
fastest lap was a 119. I think he's the only driver to get into 119s. The previous fastest lap by Connor DeFox was a 120, 122 or 123, I believe. So Labib's had an outstanding lap there, and definitely he's going to try to cut down on the time and get into the DRS of the Condor.
Oh, now Aero gets a 3 seconds. This is quite surprising, you know. I mean, nearly the whole grid got a 3 seconds or more time penalty.
Yeah, my predictions earlier were definitely correct in that regards. Penalties are very, very easy to get on this track. You don't have much to do. You're always driving just on the edge of the line. You want to take advantage of the entire width of the track as much as possible. But the second your outside tire hits the white line, they give you a penalty or a warning. So we might see. We still got 12 laps to go, so I wouldn't be surprised we see a couple drivers with rack up to 6 seconds of penalties. So looking at the tire strategies so far, we mentioned Max Verstappen going really long on the soft tires, and now he finds himself with 9-lap-old mediums. Do you think it's possible for him to keep gaining more? Like, I'm looking at his strategy, and I think he's overdone it a little bit on the soft tires, and he should have gone on the hards a little earlier. Now he finds himself with mediums who are going to start dropping off, and drivers behind him might be gaining on him. He's going to have to look behind him. He's got Ben and Siggy, who are under 2 seconds behind him, and he got 10 laps, still with the 12 laps to go, so that could be an advantage for them.
Yeah, I'm just going to need a moment. I'll be back. Just broadcast it.
Got it. So we are on board with Christian Cummins, so I don't have control of the cameras for now, so we're going to keep on board with Christian Cummins, who's desperately trying to stay behind the DRS of Rigraff and P2 right now, so he's holding the last podium position, and this is probably one of the battles that's going to drag out till the end of the race. Aero in P1, despite his penalties so far. Just going to give you a quick update on what is going on in regards to penalties. So all drivers that you see with the flags have 3-second penalties, at the exception of Zook, Joguran, our Aston Martin team principal, who got into a McLaren. And McLaren in D4 is an absolutely horrendous season for them, and Zook's keeping the trend going, as I would say. So he's got 11 seconds of penalty, and he's looking at even getting a lap by Aero within the next couple laps. Both Rigraff and Christian so far are doing a great job in managing the ERS deployment and not using it too much. Looking at so he is going to get DRS for Christian right now. Gonna try to catch up on Rigraff a little bit. So he wants to be able to stay in the DRS. The second we get out of DRS, it'll be much more difficult. Currently, Rigraff has got more pace, and that is despite Rigraff has got one lap. His hard tires are a lap older, so it's not an immense difference between the two. Keeping you updated on the rear battles, we've got Ben and Siggy so far. Siggy's kind of in the same kind of situation as many drivers are, just sticking to the rear of Ben and letting the DRS do its work, harvesting battery as much as possible. I think Siggy's going to be able to make a move on Ben quite soon, and before they know it, they'll be looking at Max Verstappen in P8.
So what have I missed?
Absolutely nothing.
Seems like it, as Siggy's the only one that's actually in DRS zone right now. Oh, and Wow, nearly makes a move down on Ben. Doesn't succeed. Time being, Beeb is pulling away from Conda right now. Yeah, but quite not a really fun race to watch, in my eyes.
It's not that much overtaking. It's well, there's two things that's happening tonight on this race. It's that obviously we mentioned a lot the DRS strategies is triggering this kind of train kind of race. Uh, let's not forget we're only 15 drivers. There's 5 drivers missing in D4 tonight. Uh, that definitely shows on the track. The situations I was talking about earlier about drivers being potentially uh, penalized or the chaos in turn one. None of that's happened. A relatively very clean race so far from all these drivers, so kudos to them. It's a lot easier to be done when you're missing 5 drivers. So, and unfortunately, affects the quality of the racing so far.
Rigraff weaving it just a little bit on Christian Cummins, just to break the toe, but Christian definitely closer, but now he's just got the worse exit than Rigraff. This is what he just needs to do, just not get 3 seconds, just keep behind Rigraff just to get that P2 position.
Yeah, I'm. If I were in Christian's shoes, I'd have a lot of trouble not trying to overtake Rigraff. I think the best way to do it is just do it on a straight line and DRS before turn 1, but not getting too tight on the corners. You never don't want an incident to happen to impede both their races. Because, like you mentioned, all you got to do is he goes a little bit deep, misses braking point just a little bit there. You don't want to be finding yourself too far behind and not getting the penalty advantage. So far, Christians is keeping a clean race and he's using his ERS a little bit to catch up as he had not a very good outing at turn 17 and Rigraff trying to take advantage of that.
Looks like there's a little bit of a ERS train going with Sigi to Metverstupen. Metverstupen is just holding the people up right now on his old mediums.
Oh, Ben nearly had a look on him and thought maybe he would be able to do it. I think Max Verstappen is very vulnerable right now. His strategy, I'll say it very clearly, was by far the worst on the grid. I think he was hoping for a safety car, and now he finds himself with medium tires where rather well used up, and I think he's got the oldest tires out there. And so now Ben has got the DRS and Sigi as well, and both of them drivers know that he's very vulnerable, and that could be something that's going to develop within the next 7 laps. And there's something I'm noticing, having practiced a lot in Mexico, I'm sure you've noticed as well. Depending on your setup, you don't seem to save a lot of fuel. There's a lot of full throttle going on around this track, so I'm already seeing Gibbs in P7. His fuel light is on, so I don't know if that means he's just going to be tight on fuel, if he's actually going to miss fuel near the end of the race. We had that kind of situation happen in Netherlands last weekend in Division 1, where some drivers just ran out of fuel at the very last moment.
It absolutely is. Aaron was one of those drivers in Division 3. Definitely came back from that performance with strong pace, especially through the race, maintaining that gap with Rigraff and Christian Cummins. And Christian looks like he's out of that DRS zone for the time being.
with 6 laps to go or just about, who would you say is your driver of the day so far?
First, like Adeo.
Yep.
Ghost recent. He's been quite a ghost for today, but I mean, maybe those positions up.
That's 9 positions he's made up. So he started P15. Was he last? I don't think he even qualified. So he started P15, and he's having one of those races where he's just doing his thing, doing his strategy, and letting the other drivers kind of take themselves out of the race by fighting each other and whatnot. And now we're seeing Adeo sitting in P6, and a lot of drivers again are starting to get some penalties as well. We're seeing them pop up in front of the on our screen now. So that's the Ben with a 6-second time penalty, which is unfortunate. He was out there in the fight. He had a great penalty qualifying lap. His race is atrocious so far. Siggy, I didn't see it, but Siggy got past both Max Verstappen and Ben, so that's 2 positions extra for the Mercedes driver. And Labib shot himself in the foot penalty-wise also. He's got a 6-second penalty. Condor the Father's got a 3-second penalty. The interval between the two is 2.5. So it's either Labib gets another penalty. It's either Condor gets another penalty, or Labib runs away from him, and he's got to run away by 5/10 there. That's another penalty again for El Padron, who's spun out in turn 17. That's not the first time we've seen him do so this race so far, and so that puts him P15, and Joe Gora and Zooks in P14.
Verstappen with another 3-second time penalty. What a good day for that Red Bull young driver.
And those 6-second penalties is going to make them drop considerably. I think he's going to drop down to P11 and Ben down to P12, and we'll see how much Big Al LeBron trying to do mental math while talking to you guys. It's not doing very well, but Mercedes, I think that Big Al LeBron might gain some positions because of penalties.
Looks like Connor the Fox has really struggled today. No. Having the hard medium strategy, you should really be closing the gap to the top 3 drivers. It just hasn't really worked out for him today. He's been thinking about removing Max Verstappen, but he got denied. Max Verstappen going a little bit wide, but he just needs to get a better traction on that one, so hopefully holding up Ben for the time being.
Yeah, I think Condor could have been maybe a little bit more aggressive towards Labib when he had the chance. He's been harvesting his ERS nearly all race, and now he's got 3 laps to go, and the usage of his ERS was not going to be helping him much at this point. He had a little bit of a moment going out of turn 3 there, a bit of a rear slip up. His tires are probably starting to get a little hot behind there. That's got 14 lap old mediums. We're seeing Max Verstappen with 18 lap old mediums. Did I miss something? Is Gibbs? I just noticed Gibbs is on soft tires.
Yep.
So I'm wondering if he's trying to go with the strategy. He had enough of a gap between him and Siggy trying to go for the fastest lap here.
Yeah,
and he's 2 laps in on those soft tires. He wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, Gibbs is definitely going for the fastest laps right now as Ben finally gets past Max Verstappen, who will be getting passed by Florida. Yeah, side by side. Max Verstappen just getting there, but switch back full Florida possibly could be working. Getting the dive bomb. Weird racing going on right now.
Don't know if there was a bit of contact on the rear of Max Verstappen there, and Florida's just going to cut in there and try to take it over on Verstappen. And Verstappen, you could tell his tires are not giving him the grip he needs to be able to battle it out, and Florida was all over him, and already is looking behind him. He's got Hookage Roldy. We haven't spoken about him this race so far. In the Williams in P12, he's looking to have a P11 finish on track. He's already got it because of the penalties. And Gibbs
Absolutely.
does a 1:18.5. He does indeed get the fastest lap. A mega race and quite a performance, I would say, and great teamwork from both the AlphaTauri drivers. Adeu one started way back and was now so far going to be finishing P6, and Gibbs steals the fastest lap off of I forget who it was. I think it was Labib who had it. So Ferrari are far ahead in front of the points in regards to constructors, but AlphaTauri needs it, and they took it.
Absolutely. So we're coming down to the last 2 laps, and something that I've heard from Duncan, that he wants to let the, well, it was an idea from someone, but he wants to know what the people who are watching his driver of the day is. So you guys want to put your driver of the day in right now before the race ends. Please do.
Yeah, we spoke earlier as Zadeo was probably the most probable driver to get driver of the day so far, but his performance, he's gained 9 positions from the start of the race. Other notable drivers who've gained positions, both Ferraris who started a little bit further back. Rigraf gained 3 positions, Labib as well. We could mention Siggy, who near the end of the race has gained 2 positions on Ben and Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen, who's been dropping down. And that's an Alpine that's dropped down in the S's. I believe that's El Padron again. So that is not his night tonight. Unfortunately for Alpine, who's gonna be missing out on important points on AlphaTauri and Mercedes as well.
Absolutely.
This was an important race for both Mercedes and Alpine. There's only 2 points separating, but on the constructors championship here.
Absolutely, Zero's on his last little lap. Definitely trying to keep it calm and collective if he wants his win. I hope Aston Martin and their combined constructors P3 road to glory right now.
Yeah, great showing tonight by Arrow. This pit strategy was near perfect, and that allowed him the win here. As he's finished going through the S's, and he's gonna begin Sector 3, and we're gonna have the fireworks and the confetti going off in the stadium near Sector 3. So a bunch of drivers are gonna be driving past that as Arrow goes through the stadium. And there you go, the celebrations begin.
Coming around the final corners, your driver Aero winning the Mexican Grand Prix, and what a performance he's done today, followed by Rigraf with a respectable P3. Christian just gets get the P2, really solid performance for him, and the B getting P4, Conda getting P5. Deo's solid performance, my driver of the day, especially yours as well, coming in P6, and now Gibbs probably won't be getting the fastest lap again.
I will be getting the interviewers in a second. The last driver go through as the finishing line is the last group of Florida Ben, Hookage, Max Verstappen, who's had an unfortunate race, tried the very bold strategy. He started further back on the grid, went for the soft tires, gained a lot of positions, and unfortunately, well, he went a little too far on his soft tire strategies, and that hurt him, and finishes P13, I believe, behind those 6-second penalties he got.
Absolutely is. Let's see Well, before I bring Rigraph in, just gonna quickly look at the what's it called? Race director. Just give the stewards what they need. So track limits wise. A lot of track limits to go through right now.
Yeah, stewards would appreciate such information for our ticketing this weekend.
Padron getting like 3 track limits in 1 lap, looks like it.
I think Patron had an incident out of turn 17, so we're gonna look at that. Most probably Monday, the stewards are gonna get together and gonna discuss things out. All right, so far we already have Rigraph, our P3 podium finisher, ready in the waiting room. Freddie, do you want me to bring him in?
Yep. I'll let you take away the interviews.
All right. Rigraph, welcome to the booth, in the broadcaster's booth, P3 in Mexico. Tell us your first impressions on the race. How was the race for you so far? How was the tire management? Walk us through your performance tonight.
Yeah, I feel like the race was probably pretty boring. As a driver and as a spectator, but I had colder tires than I wanted to be honest with you. I feel like I could have put a little bit more pressure in. And then it was fun to see the difference in setups between me and Christian in the Red Bull. If once he was in front of me during the first stint, I couldn't catch him because of his downforce in sector 2 and sector 3. But then once I got ahead, he couldn't catch me because of the downforce I wasn't running on the straight. So that was a cool little battle. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty uneventful, I feel like.
So the on track you finished in P2 because, as you mentioned, your downforce package allowed you higher top speeds and didn't allow your Red Bull rival to catch up to you. You dropped to P3 because of a 3-second time penalty. Is there any chance this is something you want to get looked at by stewards this weekend?
I may go back over it, but it's probably pretty accurate.
All right, that's great. So Rigraph, you're still far in the lead in on drivers, constructors. Sorry, on the driver standings. The closest one to you is your teammate Labib. So with now 3 races to go in Singapore, Japan, and USA, can we say it's basically your drivers' championship this season?
That's up to you, man. I ain't saying anything. We still got a few more races.
You don't want to jinx it, do you?
Nah.
Of course not. All right, Rigraph. So congratulations on your podium finish here in Mexico. Another great collection of points for both you as a driver and for Ferrari as a whole. Congrats, and we'll see you next weekend.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
All right, our P2 finisher. We're going to bring in Red Bull driver Christian Cummins. Christian, welcome to the broadcaster's booth. It's a P2 finish for you after Rigraph's 3-second penalty. Walk us through how was the race and how did the strategy pan out for you this race?
Yo, the race was fire, man. I mean, I was just sticking behind Rigraph, riding that DRS train the whole way. Felt smooth, felt comfortable there. I knew Arrow had more pace than me. Didn't put a lot of practice in, just a few hours today. So like I was comfortable with second, but yeah, man, I'm coming for the top.
A great performance on the track. One of the questions we were asking ourselves as we were looking at different strategies, we know you guys were helped out with the one and only Duncan McCamick as an engineer tonight. Allow me to ask you a question, maybe about your teammate, Max Verstappen, who tried pulling a medium strategy with soft tires. Unfortunately, it didn't really pan out for him. Do you have any additional information to give us about why he went for that kind of strategy?
Yo, honestly, I don't even know. I wasn't in a call with Mac. He's in his own lane. But yeah, it ended up not working out for him, but that's unfortunate. He'll kill it next week. He's been killing it lately. He's a solid racer, and But yeah, I'm happy with the podium. First podium.
First podium for you this season. I do indeed see that, and you've had a great race. That means P2 for you. That'll give you a solid 28 points on your standings, and you'll definitely be climbing. So yeah, congratulations for that. Is that your last podium for the season? Or are you expecting a lot to get more of those in Singapore, Japan, and USA, the last 3 races of the season?
Oh, dude. P1 here on out.
All right, you heard it
No
here,
cap.
folks.
No
Christian
cap, dude.
Cummins, he wants P1. He's gonna put the practice in a
I'm
little bit more than
coming,
this
baby!
weekend. He wants the P1. That's definitely something that I know Duncan is glad to hear in regards to his driver with such motivation. Christian, congratulations. I'll let you go celebrate with your teammates, and we'll see you next weekend.
Hell yeah, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, we will be bringing in our race winner, Arrow. Arrow
Hello.
Aston Martin with triple Aston Martin in the broadcaster's booth. We're not gonna be a little too biased, but that's another win for you tonight.
Yeah.
Congratulations! First of all, you didn't have the greatest race in the Netherlands, so the tonight was basically a comeback for you. How did it feel out there? You seem to have incredible pace, especially down in the straights.
Well, yeah, but it's funny because I made a setup earlier in the morning and I took the wrong setup when I came in qualification. So I told myself, oh, I'm fucked. But when I did my first lap and I got fastest lap, I was okay, I can do something, I can try. And on the second lap, I took again. Christian took it. I'm in qualification, and on the last lap, I invaded at turn 3. So P2 is really great for me because I'm not that good in qualification. I didn't have a massive start. But then Christian made a mistake, and I took the opportunity. So it was really not a race full of events. Just when I pitted, I ended up right in front of Labib. I tried to hold him so Condor could go away, but yeah, he did caught him anyway. So I tried the best I could, but yeah, wasn't enough.
Well, I'm going to be the first to inform you. I don't know if you did the calculations. You're sitting at 78 points, and it's 35 for a win. So you're officially getting into the 100 points club in the Zoom Racing League in Division 4. And that is with half the races compared to the other drivers most of the time. I'm saying you missed out on 4 races already. What's coming for the next for the end of the season? We've got 3 races left in Singapore, Japan, and USA. Any predictions you want to give us for your performance?
No, I won't tell anything. I thought this week was gonna be a mess, so I just told myself I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna give it everything. Maybe a top 5 could be great. At the end, it made, yeah. At the end, I win, so it's not predictable. I'm not good in qualification, so Singapore is gonna be hard. Japan is gonna be hard because I don't really like this track, and Koda is not a track I race that often, so it's gonna be hard. But I believe I have, since I'm in school now, in university, I'm the one with the most free time, I mean, so I can practice a lot more than the others. So I'm gonna try to use it.
All right, perfect. Very interesting, Arrow. So hopefully the practice will pay off and you get a great finish of the season. Aston Martin will be gaining a little bit, just slightly on Red Bull, but the fight will be still on for the constructors P2 for the rest of the season. So good luck for that. Congratulations again on your P1 finish, and we'll see you next weekend.
Thank you. See you.
So yeah, that is your 3 podium people, and that is us wrapped it up for the night. You got anything else you want to say?
No, I think most of the drivers said everything. Indeed, Mexico didn't give us the craziest of races, but we still have 4 more divisions. Division X is going to be racing tomorrow at noon. Division 3 tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern. At 10 p.m. we're going to have Division 2, and yours truly is going to be racing in it. And I'm also going to be doing color commentating for Division 1 racing in Mexico. So we're going to be seeing a lot of different kind of just a lot of racing to do in Mexico. And for Division 4, well, these guys are already turned to looking in Singapore, which is a street track, a very technical street track, maybe the most technical next to Monaco. And it's gonna give us a very different kind of race than we had over the last couple of weeks. So very interested, very curious, and very excited to see how that's gonna pan out for next weekend already.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, as you were saying, you've got D1 on a Sunday night, 10 p.m. EST. Our big drivers, our esports drivers, our main competitive drivers, as I'd say. Tomorrow night we actually have 3 races, but 2 races live. We have D3 on a 8 p.m. EST tomorrow night, followed up by D2 straight after 10 p.m. EST. Looks like they're not going to be full at the moment, but soon find out. But yeah, this has been your boy, Really Rizal. I'm really sorry I haven't really been myself. I've been ill the past couple of days, but hey, it's better having a broadcast than no broadcast. But yeah, thank you, John, for coming in last minute or last hour, as I'd say. Really appreciated. Yeah, this is us, people moaning about the quality. Deal with it. I'm not John Ranger. I'm not someone with like 250, 60p or whatever it's called on their screen. So you could settle with the 360 or 720. But yeah, cheers for watching this. Please subscribe, like, comment. Let's not be toxic in the chat. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Your broadcasters are, who is it? Peter and Seb, I think it is. The worst broadcasters in the league.
Just a second. Yeah, it is gonna be Peter Giordano and Sid Saigar and D3. So 2 drivers who have incredible pace. It is could potentially become a D1 driver, and Peter Giordano definitely is a Division 1 driver that will be out there
so you
to
can expect
broadcast
a
for
move
you
from
guys
Condor
on the
on the
next
next
straight
and
line. Division 2 is going to be Duncan McCamick and